Hazma, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. Congratulations on, what's been 4 seasons so far of
Mm.
Transplant. How does it feel to be able to be on a show for 4 seasons? It's sometimes it's getting a little bit more rare to see shows be able to be successful for the long term.
Yeah, it was great. It is that notion of like, oh, well, you don't really know what you got till it's gone, and it's just like, okay, cool. Well, it was so wonderful that we got to complete the story the way that Joseph K., the creator of the show, envisioned it. It was always meant for 4 seasons, and the fact that we got to see it through and tell the complete story on our terms, it's a phenomenal feeling, and that audience have resonated with it throughout its entire journey it's a tremendous feeling to to know that people paid attention to the story that we wanted to tell.
And I'm glad too because uh, we're living in a climate where the subject of immigration, immigrants has come out a lot, and I think
Mhm.
that with Dr. Bashir, it's really a testament of what that actually looks like. Because I mean, I've had so many doctors in my past who were immigrants, came and studied, stayed, and had just a wonderful practice. What does it mean for you to be on a show that has that kind of representation?
Well, I think it's just an important distinction that immigration is not being a refugee. Bashir had no choice in the matter. So that I myself am an immigrant. My father decided once randomly to be just like, all right, we'll go to Canada, and there was a concerted effort. Although still scary, I always like to equate it to, immigration is going skydiving. It's scary, but you chose to do it. Being a refugee is being thrown out of a plane and hoping you find a parachute on the way down. And I think a lot of times, and a lot of this series has been Bashir just like constantly trying to pull this cord on this parachute. And the beautiful thing about it is it's the story that countless people. I mean, right now I attended an event recently where that talked about this, and there's over 122 million forcibly displaced people all around the world, and all of them deserve a story like Bashir's, and majority of them will not get that. So to be able to tell a story that is rooted in hope and framed around the struggle that he goes through, it's tremendously important, and I'm very proud and privileged that I got the opportunity to take part in that.
Yeah, and now with 4 seasons, how has your relationship with uh Bashir evolved? Like how has that grown? What kind of things have you taken from his character and now applied to your personal life?
Well, I think ultimately it's just that to find confidence in yourself, to find value in what you have to offer, and not it be subject to external validation or the gatekeepers that might give you that validation. Like, say, he's trying to get this job, he's trying to get this fellowship, and he's really trying to do that, and he's put essentially his entire value and entire future in the hands of somebody else. And towards the end of the season, we find his relationship through that change, and getting to practice that even fictionally allows you to start thinking that, like, okay, cool, I can speak to my personal experience that oftentimes, especially as an actor, especially as an artist, you it is imperative that you find value in yourself, and more often than not, I have allowed my value to be dictated by whether or not I was working on set, or whether or not I was getting the approval of my peers or directors or the industries or coaches, or everything. And to see Bash really drive home this point that I'm going to bet on myself and I'm going to do this the way that I want is aspirational for sure. And I think my relationship to Bash is similar to my relationship with myself. Is that I'm just starting to take those steps, and as scary as it is, it's liberating.
And part of I sound like a broken record really saying this question sometimes, but it's one of my favorite things to ask artists like you is every character you do is really a case study in somebody else's life, somebody else's experience. In this case, in the medical field, what along the 4 seasons maybe have you had to do or experience via the story that maybe you've gained more respect for the medical field?
Oh, I mean, to have filmed this show during the pandemic, and realizing the like how difficult it is for first responders and medical professionals in general. I mean, we faced a global nurse shortage as a result of just as a result of COVID, and we also faced you know, in Canada we've got a GP crisis as well and stuff. Like there's just not doctors around. We get to tell that story, and the respect that I have is simply that doctors and medical professionals are people just like us. They make mistakes. They're learning as it goes on. They don't have a substantially a larger advantage in global politics. It affects all of us, and as that happens and these things happen, they are learning on the fly just like the rest of us, and have dedicated their lives to helping other people. And just like all of us, they're just doing their best. So to have a level of empathy for the fact that somebody who works in the medical professional is similar in approach to myself, as I'm just trying to land on my feet in my chosen profession, to receive the amount of scrutiny that first responders got during COVID, I do not envy anybody, because a lot of people didn't know what was going on, you know, and they were tasked with, and they were given an impossible task of maintaining this thing that nobody knew how to handle. And my respect for that is tremendous. And the other question that I keep on asking is, well, after 4 years, do you think you could do that? I think I am so, you know, distinctly aware of how little I could do this job professionally, just as a result of the mental and emotional strain that it has on people.
Yeah, that's one thing that's often sometimes not it's played a bigger role now, the emotional toll in doing some of those things. It seems exhausting. Just shoot what
Mhm.
from one case to another room, and you got to be sharp because these are people's lives at risk. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you got to
I
experience.
got to, if I could share,
Yeah.
I got to shadow an emergency room doctor once, and he was one of our principal consultants on the show as well, Dr. Levine. And I went and we were talking to a patient and stuff like that, and I kind of connected with this patient, and she had gone through something horrific. And um you know, 2 days later, he was on set, and we were working on a thing, and he was telling us how to do something, and I was just like, hey, by the way, how's that patient? And he was like, who? And I was like, you know, that lady, you know, fell down the stairs and everything, and this happened and that happened. And he was just like, I have no idea who you're talking about. And I was just like, listen, this was, you know, remember when I came on Saturday? He was like, yeah. And he's just like, you have to understand, that's like 200 patients ago for me. I'm like, oh, I didn't know the scale at which, you know, they're seeing 70, 80 people a night, especially on a weekend. And, you know, so it's really humbling. You know, people can say that like, oh, doctors are detached, they don't really care. And I'm just like, no, they care, but they have to do this very rapidly with, you know, oftentimes with limited resources. And I'm in what is called in the West a developed nation. I can't imagine what people with far fewer resources and are going through. It's insane to think about.
Yeah, it's yeah, I could never do it. I want to ask you, what was it like for you to get the script for season four? I mean, even as a viewer, when I started watching the first episode, I was like, oh, this feels heavier.
Yeah, yeah, it was we were all ready to go. Like this is the, you know, this is the, I mentioned earlier, this is the jewel in the transplant crown. Um I think there is this notion of, because it's our last one, we have to do bigger and better and everything like that. And I think it was more about the fact that the especially the pilot, it was approached in a very different way. And I think what sets us apart, obviously medical dramas have a formula they have to go through, but our writers were not afraid to take risks. And that first episode that tells the shifting perspective from every doctor, to, you know, episode 8 and that tremendous thing that happens there, it kept us on our toes. It allowed us to really feel every single emotion that you could possibly think of from the perspective of these characters, and to be able to inhabit them and serve their stories in the way that we got to. Every episode that we got, we were always, and I was particularly very irritating about, like, yo, send me the next script, send me the next script. And they oftentimes they weren't ready, and I'm just like, I don't care, I want to know where it's going. And every time we got it, I think we were all just like, "Oh, we get to do this," or "Oh, we get to experience this together." It was just lovely, and I'm grateful for that.
Now, final question before I let you go. Tell me what kind of family you guys have become. I mean, with your little sister, Serena, Amira, or,
Yeah,
Lawrence and everything.
yeah.
Tell me that.
I mean, there's a beautiful intimacy that you end up forging as a result of building these characters from nothing and experiencing very real things with each other. Um, Serena just reached out to me the other day, being like, "Oh man, I need advice on university stuff, and I need, and I was just like, oh, my little sister, it was really because I don't have like I'm not an older brother, like I have a daughter, and very early on, like my daughter was 2 when we filmed the pilot of Transplant, or she just turned 1 rather, and it was just I was like, oh, this is what my daughter's gonna look like when she grows up. They had the curly hair, they had everything. So the fact that she still reaches out and she's doing her own projects, she recently did a short film, and for her to take me into confidence, I'm like, oh my, I'm so proud. This is so nice. And the same thing with as I was watching this, I revisited it, and I got on the phone with Laurence, and it was just like it's just so beautiful that we were able to create this very true, very deep relationship of these two people together, and it got so I miss that, and we both crave that as a feeling of the best that can happen when two artists commune with each other, when you just feel comfortable. And as I'm watching the 4th season on camera, I'm just like, yo, that's an insane amount of chemistry that you have with somebody. And it's just like, we were talking about like, yeah, you should do something again. Like this is very nice. And over the series, we all, we had our WhatsApp group chats, and everybody's, talking about whatever's going on in their lives, and you end up entering this bubble, plus there's the COVID bubble, and then we're in the transplant bubble in COVID and stuff like that. So you end up getting really involved in people's lives, and it's wonderful to continue to be part of these people's lives. That I think this was a big thing for all of us, and I don't think um, anybody's too quick to let that go, which is nice.
Yeah, well, Hamza, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Season 4 stressed me out, man. It just stressed me out. So,
Well,
in the
well, that's
best
good,
way.
man. We want that. If we finish the show and left you wanting more, success. Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
It was really nice to meet you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the insight. And again, congratulations on, season 4 of Transplant. And I hope to talk to you soon on, I don't know what, but it
On
probably
whatever
could be
else, on
good.
whatever's next, Manny. I'll look out for you out there.
Take
It's
care.
always
It
nice
was
to
nice to
meet you.
meet you.